So this is a tough video for me to make. It's not a video I ever imagined I would make. I thought I would be doing a GDC vlog video next. I thought that was the next thing. I had ideas for the month, and none of them involved a national global pandemic and how it affected the music industry and really the world. That's not what I thought I'd be talking about in March. But, tell God your plans, right? He'll laugh, or they'll laugh. So obviously I want to talk about it briefly. I don't want to get into the details of the coronavirus. One, I am not a scientist, in case you are not aware. And two, it's such an ever-changing thing and such a unpredictable thing that if I tell you exactly where we're at today, which is Monday, March 23rd at the time of this recording, that can change in the next 24 hours very easily and be way worse, hopefully a little better. But that's something that we have to keep an eye on. The one thing I'll say, the PSA that everyone's been saying, that I will say, I know you've heard it 1,000 times, but maybe you need to hear it 1,001 to really get it through your head. Stay at home. Stay home. I know how things are in America. I'm not sure everywhere in the world 100%, but I can say here, it's very serious. It's getting worse. Please stay home. If you're, a average adult between the ages of 20 and 50, you're probably not going to die, but us staying outside is only increasing the chances that a person with a weaker immune system, a person who has a medical history that is not the best, and a person who is older to die. We are still putting thousands, maybe even millions of lives at risk, and it's just not worth it. So stay home. Most cities are already on lockdown. Most cities already don't have much open besides grocery stores and gas stations. So please only go outside if you absolutely literally have to, if it is an emergency, if you are taking care of someone older and you need to do it so they're not putting themselves in danger. This thing is very important, and please, I'm staying home just like a lot of musicians, essentially /strongly encouraged to. So please do your part. Stay home. All right, now that we're done with that, let's talk about what this COVID-19 coronavirus means for musicians. It's not good. It's not good for anybody, and musicians are no different. I think this reminded me more, even though I already knew this, that our industry is tied and married with the people and the economy of the country and the world. Without them, in case you didn't notice, it doesn't really matter how good we are, because no one can pay for our services because things are shutting down. So I think it reminded me that, we really are in it, and we really are a community, and it's hard to think about that because we work so much on our craft that goes away really quickly. But that's one thing that we're here to talk about today, and talk about how COVID-19 is affecting us, and things we can take away. Because I'm not in a situation this dark, I'm not really into the silver linings. I don't see one, to be honest. It's just bad. People are going to die. A lot of people are going to die. Everyone's going to get affected. Your joy's being taken away. Your freedoms are being taken away. Your finances and your economic resources are being taken away. Your ability to make your art is being taken away. There aren't going to be too many positives. All we can have at this point is less horrible. Like, let's have less people die, and let's have this last as short of a time as possible while we hope people get better, hope the doctors find a vaccine, etc., etc. That's really all. So I don't really I like to look at things on the bright side, but I don't really see one here. The best case scenario is less people die than have already died, and we, flatten the curve, have less people infected, stay inside. So, but what I do want to do is look at the takeaways, things us musicians can take moving forward about this, lessons that we can learn, 5 lessons to learn from this. So I'm going to go through the 5 lessons that I feel like I've relearned and learned and seen from other people that we need to talk about. And I'd love to share them with you. So here we go. So 5 lessons all musicians should learn from COVID-19. Have a savings account. So money is something that people can get very sensitive about. I'm not really sensitive about money like that. I think as an artist, it's kind of hard because, money's always an issue. So I'm just not a person who's like that. I never really worry about money. As much as I can, I try not to. And I know some people are different. They get very sensitive talking about money. They don't want to talk about numbers. They don't want to tell you what they make. They don't want to know what you make and all that. So I understand this can be a touchy subject for people, even though it's not for me. So the one thing though is that you need to have a savings account, and I'm particularly talking to anyone who's been working for, let's say, 3 or 4 years. I think I'll give you a pass if you're 1 or 2 years of full-time work, because maybe you have a lot on your plate, maybe you're getting used to being an adult, and there are just it can be a little overwhelming, especially in the start. So first 2-3 years I might give you a pass. Anyone who's been working honestly more than 3 or 4 years, you need to have a savings account. You need to have some savings. Honestly, at this point, this should be a smack in the face that we're not too far away from disaster, and it's out of our control, right? I think the statistic is, I think 56% of Americans don't have $1,000. That's not even that much. That can't really cover most people's bills that I know. So think about that. That means most of us don't have enough to last 1 month, and a general rule of thumb is you should have 3 months. So that's a problem. And again, I'm not just saying that trying to beat people up. I'm in that boat. I don't have 3 months of savings, I need to do a better job, and this is a reminder to myself, and I'm reminding you and saying that's a takeaway for the whole industry, that we need to have a better, bigger savings account, more savings. Even if we can't do as much as we'd like, we need to do, $12 a month, $20 a month, something to at least get the ball rolling. And I feel like savings is something we all neglect. Personally, I've tried it a bunch of times, and then I fail halfway through a number goal, or something comes up, and I do use it for a quote-unquote emergency, but then I don't put it back, and things like that. And you know what? I think at this point, we have to realize it is difficult, it is hard, but there's no excuse. We need to, if you've been working for several years, it's time to get that together. It's time to buck up and figure it out in your finances, because it's important. It's for you. It's not for something else. It's so you can have savings and you can have a little cushion in case something like this happens. Now, of course, the pandemic is probably not going to happen regularly. I don't even know what the numbers for that would be, but again, we're musicians. We're tied to the economy of our neighborhoods, our communities, and the world. Very, very much so. So maybe next time it won't be a pandemic. Maybe it'll be a hurricane. Maybe it'll be a tornado. Maybe it'll be a financial crisis. Maybe you'll have your own personal, a medical bill crisis. Maybe you'll have some kind of marital issues where your money is not what it used to be. There can be different reasons why you're short on cash, and we need to make sure that we have something in place, for the next time we have at least a little bit of leeway, even if it's just 1 or 2 months, because hopefully this will only be something that's a huge issue for you making money for a couple months. It could be worse. Like I said, this is ever growing, ever changing. We don't know the ramifications long term. But what I do know is that we need to have a savings account, and we need to stop making excuses for ourselves. And that's, again, I'm right in the same boat. This is a wake-up call that needs to happen. I compare it to car insurance. In America, car insurance is needed for a car. It's illegal to drive without car insurance. Why do they do that? Because if they make it optional, a lot of us are going to say we can't afford it, or we're not going to do it, or et cetera, et cetera. And when cars do get in accidents, they're uninsured, and the person who got hit is going to end up, being screwed over if they have their insurance, but someone else hit them and they won't pay, right? So that's why we have to have insurance, and every car has to be insured, and the penalties for that are extremely big. You can get arrested, you can get tickets, you can get your license suspended. Pretty much everyone drives with insurance because the ramifications are just way, way worse than if you just pay and have insurance, right? So we have to think of our savings like that. Like, it's mandatory, it's required, it's not an optional, it's not if I have enough, it has to be part of my budget, it has to be part of my life. No excuses, and I can only use that money for a literal emergency, just like your insurance is only used for if there's an accident. So if that helps you kind of think of it that way, I hope it does. We just need to get it done, and even though it seems like a simple thing, I think it's the first thing we should lead off with. We should have a savings account. We should have savings. Number 2, another one that I need to work on. Have things people can buy. I see a lot of musicians now scrambling to try to find ways to monetize themselves, and a great way is to have a Bandcamp. A great way is to have CDs for sale, vinyls for sale. My personal favorite actually is t-shirts. The reason you want to have these things is for these scenarios. You can, in a scenario where you really need to have a call to action and have something people can support you with, people are a lot more likely to support you if they're also going to get something in return, right? You can put a GoFundMe up, you can do Venmo and just say, hey, help me out, it's rough. But it's a lot easier when you're like, hey, it's rough. I need help. I'd love it if you would buy a CD, a vinyl. My t-shirts are 10% off this month. I'm trying to figure it out. Then people feel invested. They feel like you're not just asking for money, you're giving them a product. And it really doesn't even matter what that product is as long as it's something they can have. And that's why I like the t-shirt. I think the t-shirt at this point is the best because whenever I buy CDs now, personally, it's just because I really, really, really like the artist and I really want to support them. I haven't actually used this. I've been a hardcore CD person my whole life, and I haven't listened to music in a CD in at least a year. And before I was, the CD champ. I was waving that flag, but I just don't use it anymore. So CDs aren't happening. Even Bandcamp, whenever I purchase music, I purchased a good amount of albums last week because they did a campaign where they waived the fees for all artists, so they got the full amount of the money. 100% of the proceeds went to the artists, part of the kind of COVID relief kind of thing. And I only bought those albums because I really wanted to support my friends. It wasn't because I'm like, oh, I want to listen to it now. I can listen to music on Spotify and Amazon, on Apple Music, Tidal, YouTube, all that stuff. I only did it because I wanted to support them. So, but the t-shirt to me is the key because the t-shirt is tangible. It's something I can wear. If you have a good design, it looks cool. The price is right, and I actually feel like I'm going to use that because I'm going to wear t-shirts. While the CD, I kind of just bought it because I was being nice. I'm not actually planning on using it. So I think you'll get more people to buy the t-shirt than the CD, and I think it's more beneficial to your career. Funny enough, as a musician, you want the non-music thing. But yeah, make sure you have stuff to buy. That way, you don't feel like you have to scramble and quickly make a CD or quickly mix it or just release anything because you need something to price. If you have that stuff set up, you have a store on your website, it just makes life easier. You can just tell them to go to what's already there, and it'll make it easier for you to have that call to action, and there won't be that friction of trying to figure out what that call to action is going to be for. Number 3, learn online streaming. I've seen a lot of my musician friends go live on Facebook and Instagram and Twitter, etc. in the last week because of COVID-19 and having so much of their income taken away because all the restaurants are closed. There are no gigs right now. And while I'm really excited and happy that they're on there now, part of me, not gonna lie, I'm very frustrated because I've been screaming to do online video and doing my own online video for quite some time, and I'm like, you could have been doing this the whole time. Why did you rest on your laurels? I don't understand. So and a lot of my musician friends especially, I know some really heavy hitters, people who work full-time at faculty and they tour Europe in the summer and all this stuff, but again, all that can go away. Online, it's really hard for online to go away. It's like the number one place where everyone is all the time. You need to be there, period. And I feel like some people knew they didn't have to be there, so they weren't there. And now they're trying to scramble to learn, figure it out. Doing things in a state of emergency is not the best way to do them. You should have already been playing around with this stuff. You should already know how all these platforms work. You should know which one people like more. You should know which one you like more, how it's presented, how to make thumbnails, how to go live, how to schedule it so everyone knows what time you're going live, having a schedule, like all that stuff should have been done. It shouldn't be done when you have no income and you really hope that someone shows up to this stream you've never done before because you really need them to. Like, that's the worst case scenario. Again, things happen. We all make mistakes. Let this be the lesson. Learn how online streaming works. Learn what you like about it. Learn how to use it. I know some guitarists who make a lot of their living on going on Facebook Live. They go on Facebook Live every day. They do gigs there. They do shows there. And then from there, those hardcore fans they have, actually they do like some in-home tours, and they do a tour concert just off of the friends that they have on Facebook Live, the friends they have on Facebook. And they have their gigs set up based off of those people they meet through there, and that's pretty much it. Facebook's their bread and butter. So it's totally possible. And they're very good, but I know some people even better who don't do any of that stuff. And not only are you missing out on a lot of money, you're missing out on the experience of working online like that, and you're missing out on the opportunities that can present for you to become a better musician and to engage with a bigger, wider community than the ones that you already engage in. That's what you're missing out. So let this be a lesson. Let's not have in 6 months, oh yeah, I only went Facebook Live that one time and I got $3 because no one ever would think of me doing that because I've never done it. And now I think Facebook Live doesn't work. It does work. They all work. You just have to figure out which ones you like and, master them to the point you feel comfortable with. I really feel like for me, I am a big fan of Twitch. Obviously, I'm a big fan of YouTube. And I think those ones are the ones that I prefer, but I've definitely used Facebook Live before. I've definitely used Instagram Live before. I know enough about them to feel pretty comfortable. Only people who know more than me are people who are extremely advanced and do it on a daily basis. But it's important to get to know those platforms and how they can benefit you, because how they benefit every person is going to change and be different depending on the instrument they play, the genres they perform with, etc., etc. Number 4, consider other ways to monetize. So one primarily I think of when I think of long-term monetization is Patreon, right? If you're doing a lot of things for free, right? You're giving people Facebook Live shows, Instagram Live shows, Twitch. You're constantly putting things up on YouTube. You're interacting with communities. You can say, hey, for me to do this at this level, I need to have some compensation because it's just too much for me to do along with my other things. So those things will stay free, but I'm going to have a Patreon. There you can support me. Maybe I'll do 1 or 2 exclusive videos, figure out how that works for your career, and then you can have a community of people that are really bought into you and also help pay for you to continue to create those things. And I think that's a great platform, and it's a great place for musicians and artists to be, where you can constantly have a percentage of money coming in that you can guarantee. A lot of people who do Patreon now are doing not fine, but they're doing much better because they already have money that's guaranteed, that's not going away. Those people are very supportive. They're already bought in financially, engaging, being super fans. And I think having revenue streams online that won't get interrupted by these kinds of things as easily as, your local restaurant is going to get affected is important. Again, other tragedies and things will happen in life, and the internet is hard to break it down. So if you're in there and you're doing a good job, it's going to really help you. So it doesn't have to be even something you do, but it has to be something that you consider and keep in mind. And look at the people who do it successfully and see if that's something you want to do. I think it's something every musician should 100% consider and strongly consider. When I say consider, I don't mean you thought about it, saw one video, and then you gave up. I mean really look into it, really dig into it and see, does anyone do this successfully in your career? Who is it? How do they do it? Can you do it as well? Should you try? How long are you going to be actually making a concerted effort into it? It's important, and this can be a wake-up call for the things that we're lacking. Okay, my final tip, the 5th tip I want to give is have your social media and website put together. So for social media, I'm pretty good at. I have all my stuff connected. It's all with the same name, ECreatesAudio. I'm pretty happy with how I kind of interact with people on the social media. I talk regularly. I'm constantly on there. I'm engaging with family, friends, community, other artists. I feel good about it. I like it a lot, and I gain a lot from it. My website, I do need to update. I'll be doing an update in the next couple weeks here. I've been working on a big update, and I have another big update coming up for reasons I can't get into now. So I have a few times I'm going to have to update my website. My website was pretty good maybe a year ago, and now again, I also fit in this segment here. I need to work on my website. But again, a lot of musicians I know, their website's not the best. It looks like it's from, like 2004. Just everything's everywhere, and it's very hard, and it doesn't look aesthetically pleasing at all. And I'm talking about some people who are very successful, but that website is absolutely atrocious. I can't imagine that website helps at all. It's very confusing, just a cluster of things. Again, you can learn on Wix, learn on WordPress, look up YouTube videos, how to make a website, how to make a nice website, what makes a good website. Look at other artists you look up to in their websites, what works, what doesn't. Act as a fan, act as a person who's thinking of hiring them. Is it easy to do that? Can I easily contact them just going on this website without having someone, spell it out for me? And social media, the same thing. Are they ever posting on Facebook? Are they posting on Twitter? Take a look at your stuff. Make sure you're crossing the T's, dotting the I's, and you're engaged in social media. The worst thing you want to do is have something bad happen. Then you go on Twitter like, well, guess I have to use this now, because people can smell that a mile away. They can see that you seem kind of desperate, and you're not really. You're just here trying to hopefully catch a check instead of just being part of the community and being part of the conversation. You always want to be part of the community and part of the conversation, not someone who's like, hey, money, please. No one likes that person. No one likes to talk to that person, so don't be that person. So the best way to avoid that is by already knowing what social media networks, what social media accounts you want to use, which ones you like, and working out how you want to use them to engage with people who would like the things that you are already doing. That's the point. I don't want to make anyone do social media. If you really, really hate it, I guess you can consider it. But I mean, that's, people talk about social media being bad, but social media is the people. So, that there's a bit of a contradiction there. That's society. It's not, there are some bots, but overall it is actually people there. So, take a look at how you're interacting on social media. Take a look at the things you want to do to improve that. If there is, maybe you're okay, right? Not everyone's going to be missing all 5 of these things, right? But it's something to consider. And again, the website, I think everyone needs to look at. You should be updating that regularly, because you don't want to say, I'm really excited for 2017 when it's 2020, right? And you want to make sure it's up to date on your credits and what you're actually doing and what your latest releases are. So hopefully, fingers crossed, you have a lot of interesting different gigs happening, every few months or what have you. And you want to make sure that's up to date, representing that you've done stuff. If someone sees that you haven't updated since 2017, they might think you haven't done any work since 2017 because, there's no information. And they click on your social media and you haven't posted in like 8 months, and they're like, is this person even in this anymore? I don't know. And, you don't want to ever give off that vibe, especially if it's not true. So those are my 5 takeaways, 5 things I think every musician should double check, make sure they don't have anything they need to improve on or they're missing. So again, those are 1, having a savings account. 2, have things people can buy online. 3, learn how to online stream and which online streaming services you enjoy using. 4, consider long-term funding like Patreon. And 5, make sure your website and social media accounts are put together and well represent you as an artist. So, again, there are other things going on. This maybe is a lot to think about while also thinking about the other things we're dealing with. But I think either whenever you're ready, moment to reflect. Maybe you're going through this now and you're realizing, oh, you know what? I wasn't 100% sharp on everything I needed to do as an artist. Again, I fall in line with a few of those. I need to work on my savings, and I need to work on my website for sure, and buying stuff. So 3 of the 5 kind of apply to me. A few of them don't. But so, it's things I've been thinking about myself, I've been seeing in other people, and hopefully you've taken a few things away as, oh, okay, let me work on these things at a certain point this year and get these together, because again, we're going to get through this. I know we will. It's going to be hard, but we're going to get through it. And after that, let's make sure the next time something happens, we feel better prepared. We have a savings account. We have our streaming services. We have things for people to buy. We have ways we can get financial support if, unfortunately another catastrophe happens, something financial happens where things aren't quote-unquote normal. So let's be better prepared. And thank you for making it to the end of the video. If you like this video, please make sure you click like, make sure you subscribe. I've been trying to get to 100 subscribers now, and I'm making good progress on that, so I'd really appreciate it if you like this video, that you subscribe and tell a friend, show people around, share the video and tell them, what do you think about this? And I'm not sure when my next video is going to be. I normally do videos every other week on a Tuesday, but with COVID-19, actually, I'm thinking of maybe doing another video, maybe one just for relief and funding. I'm trying to see what I can do. I'm not the most well off, but I feel like I'm better than some of my friends who went literally from their income to no income and no end in sight. That's really scary, and I'm feeling for all of them. And I'm trying to figure out ways that I can help. Look at what organizations are doing good work for musicians. So I'm thinking maybe next week I might do another video on that, because unfortunately I think that would be very relevant. But I'm still figuring it out. So the latest you'll hear back from me is April 7th, but I might actually drop another video next week to talk about financial ways that we can help musicians suffering from the coronavirus and COVID-19 issues and the economic repercussions of such a horrible pandemic happening in the world. So until next time, talk to you then. Later.